Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So today is another side being created for my Japanese rice bag inspired caddy. It's a hard one because it's technically a rice bag, but with a few modifications. I'm just grabbing one. The side seams are exposed. Now if you're familiar, let me just trim some threads. If you're familiar with Japanese rice bags, these seams would be internal and captured once the lining is created, including the tabs around the top. But to make it a little bit more slow stitchy, I've just done a raw edge. Now I have quite a few layers on my side, so by the time it gets decorated and embellished, it's actually standing on its own accord. I still put the rope in through these little guides, these little tabs, so that I can, do the classic Japanese rice bag closure. But they sit on my bench with treasures inside, and I've got 4 of them and I'm making another one. I plan to make plenty of these over my time because they are a fantastic way of exploring techniques, which is how the other 4 have come along. There's a playlist. You can see a link below to the playlist. When I first kicked this project off, goodness, ages ago now. So I was just about to start the video and I realized that I hadn't turned it on to record, hence why I've A, selected my next feature piece, and B, I had torn 2 sides. So now that I've caught you up, that's where we're at. So this little tablecloth is like a see-through organza, and it's got some of these applique pieces on it. It's just so pretty. So it was in my pile of potential embroideries for the project because I'm celebrating my newfound love of Liberty fabrics, and I had put aside a few pieces that I've sort of never really played with, cross stitches. So yeah, and that one, but it's too big for my little panel. There's a few in here. So I've made my final selection, which is this one. So I still have a mess of Liberty fabrics around me because about an hour ago I finished filming this and have since stitched it all down. And while I have all of the bits and bobs out, as in fabrics, let me just adjust this camera and come up a little bit so you can see all of my mess. So as mentioned in the previous week, the fabrics have come from 2 Etsy online stores that are Little Bits. I also have picked up a few random pieces every time I go to Ballarat and visit my buddy Susanna, because in Belen, the next little town, is a fantastic store. Oh gosh, I'm going to say the name and I hope I get it right. Rose Mill House. Oh my goodness. I shall write it below. They too have a store just brimming with these fabrics. And when I was there year before last, I actually did a video in the store, so I might link that below. That was my I've been to Ballarat video, and I featured the Liberty fabrics in a bit of a tour, so I shall do that. I will link that video plus the playlist for this whole series. All right, enough. So far the brief has been vintage embroideries with a hint of Liberty fabrics and also a celebration of English paper piecing. These ones I didn't join, I just placed. This one I created in the last video, a random piece to drift across the vintage embroidery. I did end up quilting it down. Once I attached it around the perimeter, I then went back through and did some little invisible stitches over all the joins, and it just puffed it up beautifully. It sort of got really puffy. Actually, really happy with that result. It's a bit wonky, but look at this. I don't know how that happened. Bit of a shame, but I think once it's attached side by side, it's not going to be really noticeable. All right, so we'll put those two to one side. We need to think about this. So pretty by itself, but I want to bring in some little embellishments. So we got the option of bringing in some little, another thing I've figured out is glue basting itty bitty hexagons like these guys. I don't know if it's a bright idea, and I think stitch basting is probably something I would want to try. These are 5/8 of an inch. I got a little pack of 100 here, and these are the ones that came out of the panel I created here. The glue basting, whether it's me putting too much glue on, but because it's tiny, it just happens. So I'm thinking maybe of stitch basting the final side. Now the final side, the fourth side to my little composition here, is all going to be these little guys. Now I haven't done it yet because I've got everything packed out here, and I thought I might as well create the third side, and then I can pack up all of this, pulling out the distinctive ones that I want to incorporate in the fourth side, which is going to be just all of these little guys, all through. I've been thinking while I was stitching that of having go at doing a colour wash where you go from dark to light. So that's definitely in the back of my mind as well. So yeah, I've just got a pussycat here beside me that I'm giving a little pat to. He's just emerged out of his bunk and is desiring a pat on the head and a rub around his ears. Hey Fudge. So we're just doing that as we think about this. Now, what are we going to do with you? I've got a bit of space up there. One idea is we could have the garden the plant coming out of the garden, which would then give us an area along the bottom that we could do something. Let's just piece a few of these little guys and see what potential design could come of it. Don't mind this idea. These are my second-hand ones, so it's good that we can use them. Is it too thick and chunky and it's going to overpower my piece? I definitely want hexagons on it somewhere, but I need to be mindful of this is so delicate. Or do we Fudgy wants to come up. He's looking at me. Fudgy. Let's just pat the cat for a moment. Oh, neat Fudge. Don't walk out there. Let's just have a little pat of the pussycat. Oh, he wants to go out there. Of course you do. Just walk straight through, Fudge. Keep walking, buddy. Keep walking. That's a boy. Now I have to move a chair so that if he decides he doesn't want to participate anymore, the Fudge can hop onto the chair and then down onto the floor. Oh, I don't mind that. What have I done? I've broken up the solid. Did Fudgy rearrange the hexagons, did he? I sort of don't mind that. I wonder if I put a band of lace through here. I haven't used lace on this one, but I did have some tatting on that one. All right, lace is still sitting here. Okay, what if we... Let's see what we've got. Got some good lacy morsels. Don't mind the idea of collaging a bigger piece of lace across it. I do like the idea of, there goes the pussycat. He's had a smooch on a container that's on the table and now he's off. So we put 3 there and 3 there and then build up. This is so bold and big. He's off having a drink of water now. Bit of tulle. Why have I picked that up? Create a bit of texture. No. Just bear with me, guys, as we meander through my container here of overflow of lace. I need to upgrade it to a bigger container. I haven't actually officially found a use for the last one I did, which was the animals from Susanna's calendar. Right, too big. Too chunky. A piece of this might work. Let's move that. No, I keep coming back to these definite shapes. Where's all my definite floral shapes? There's a couple, there's one. And this piece, I know it's big, but for some reason, I do like it. Maybe if I can adjust its position a little. I don't want to lose that little flower. Manipulate the shape of the flower. Like if that leaf came off there and was pivoted more up here and underneath that petal. Sort of redesigning the lace, I guess, to suit my design. I like how there's a gap here. That's great for a little hexagon cluster. Yeah, I like that. Let's just be bold and snip. And I'm pretty confident. Don't tell me I left the pins by the couch again. Got some here. I was catching up on YouTube videos. I was having a great time. Right. Yeah, I like that. It's like I've encased this little piece. And I can still see the green floral piece there. Is that a random shape in there? Yep. I can get rid of that. Once that's all stitched down, that'll ensure that those edges don't fray and break down, because at the end of the day, it's a machine stitched lace. So you've got to make sure it doesn't unravel on you. All right. So then we had this little cluster of 3. So if you tucked in there, maybe 3 is too much. 2. We've still got our odd numbers. Yeah, I think 2. We need something through here. Do we bring in a new lace? Or do we use the remaining lace? It's so big. Had that little daisy too. But if I put him in, I sort of feel like I need to bring in another one to help tell why are you there. So maybe we can put you there, have the little hexagons popping out from behind. So they'd have to be, I'm just thinking about the fabric we choose. That's the challenge, is picking the right. And if you go there, you're sitting on top of the hexagon. It'll feel like it's meant to be, I believe. Okay. Could do some seed stitch on this piece, in and around the flower, but it'd have to be dainty. Otherwise it won't look right. That's correct. All right, so that gets separated and flattened and stitched. Whew, there's my composition so far. So let's just put this lace out of the way. It's just upended on the table everywhere, of course. I do have this showing down here, which I don't mind because it's bringing in a different texture. Can you see? Let me zoom in. You can see where, because I've torn the piece out, I've got all this excess, but down here I can see the actual fabric. So my feeling is I trim, once this starts to be stitched down, I actually get in here, see that line? I cut that out. So I get a clean look at this fabric along the bottom. I think that petal lining up with this edge over here, let me just move that, is okay. That hides the fact that there's an edge there, and we trim that little bit out there. Can you even see what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's about disguising the edge of my floral fabric, that organza. But that's all good. Now, here we go. We get to pick, I'll zoom back up. We get to pick the colour for the little ones here. So what are we going to do? I'm thinking we stick to the one colour palette. Didn't I have a heap of blues? Here. I think we should stay within one colour tone. And I think it needs to be blue. So let's start playing with a few hexagons. I might not even join these guys. I might do like the last time. Just have a little gap. I don't know. We'll see. Now I want to have a go at basting them with thread. So I need my fine needle, which is by the couch. All right, I'm gonna just pause the video, scoot to the lounge room and pick up my supplies. Won't be a moment, guys. Okay, I'm back. So I have my needle. I also grabbed some more Liberty that I've got in bigger pieces. See those there? They're like my all-time favorite. And if I was to do a quilt, they were the start of something. And I have a feeling I need a little bit more blue. So yeah, just thought I better bring them to the table. Oh, I'm not a fan of thread basting. Oh, I'm in catch-22. The glue, I'm too heavy-handed and proved to be a bit of a pain. So thread basting we go, but we'll persevere. We'll give it a go. It's a good way, I guess, to test a couple different methods, you know, like, do I turn that now as well? No, we'll get to it. I have the thinnest needle too, so if you are doing any of this type of work, I have like the thinnest. Remember Reg, the needle that kept biting me because of his bad attitude? It was never ever my fault. It's a Reg. It's really, really fine. But you sort of need something sharp and fine to penetrate the paper. That's what I meant to do on the last video, is attach Jennifer Clouston's little tutorial she did a couple of weeks back. Well, it's probably a month back now, on how she does all this. Gee, that was a wonky effort, Corrine, but that's okay. I tell you who else has done a lot of tutorials on it is Kate from Last Homely House. Remember her granddaughter's quilt, Agnes, in all the wash of turquoises? Oh my goodness, that was stunning. I think that was about the time I found her channel too, was when she was, don't give me a knot, when she was starting that. Now, that should be, and we got a knot. Okay, there we go. It's rather cute with the little flowers, look, little daisies. Didn't plan that, so really need to have that in a good spot, like over there. There we go. There's our first one. That's a pretty fabric. Let's see what other blues are around before I go and chop. Yeah, you're pretty. Chop into my big pieces, because there probably is enough. I reckon glue basting's quicker. The last video we did quite a few hexagons and they seem to come together quite quickly. You know, each to their own, I guess. Trim it. Don't need any excess. Okay, and here we go again. I will have to join them if I'm doing this, you know. Yeah, because I've stitched them. If I decided to glue, stitch them down not joined, well, why bother doing this? See, just the light bulbs just come on. Did you hear the cogs turning as she was going through? Oh, what did I think about separating the hexies with a little gap and not actually joining them when I've just thread basted these little guys? Anyway, we're joining them. It's not penny joins anyway, this to there. They're so fiddly, but they're as cute, like, especially when you've got small prints. So the final side to my little, oh, that's gone around the back of it. Oh, gee, I tell you, I'll leave it because it won't matter once they're joined. No, I'm just again. I'm so used to whip stitching. Oh, I'll tell you, if you want to get a tutorial on thread basting, go and watch someone who talks you through it. Don't watch me who's battling through it. Hilarious. It's too slow. Oh, that's it. I'm out. Guys, it's too slow. Sorry, Jennifer. Sorry, Kate. Purists of the industry. No, I can't do it. Now I've got a knot. All right, somewhere safe to put this nasty little needle. I'll put you in there. All right, I'm back to glue basting, guys. It is what it is. Miss Slick here. No patience. Look, like, before I started working on the actual piece on that previous panel, I took them to the iron and I gave them a really good iron because it just helped those folds. I'm a glue baster. There you go. I think he needs to be deep and dark, so he needs to be not as in your face. So that little guy's going to go there. Yep. Now, another 3 blues. I don't even know if that is a Liberty. I'd say so. I got that from Beck, from Sobe Curated. So I'm going to say it is a Liberty. Doesn't matter because at the end of the day, the fabric is a great colour for my project. So needs an iron, but that glue will soon take care of that. And I look, what a stupid sentence. And I would like to say, when you're crafting, find the techniques that you love doing. If there's something you're doing that is just driving you, there's a little bee. Didn't think that through. Can we get him? Oh, little bee. If it's something's driving you absolutely bonkers, we can get him. Just. Oh gosh, that's going to be tight. Let's try. If I find that that's just ridiculous and falls to pieces, I don't think it will. I think we got him. Yeah, as I was trying to say, if there's a technique that you just can't quite get it right, explore other ways of doing it, and don't feel any guilt that if you come up with a way that is not technically correct, but it achieves the result. This slow stitch business, it's all about enjoying what we're doing. So don't feel the pressure, is what I'm trying to say. There's so many different ways of doing things out there. I remember needle turn applique was the bane of my life in the 90s. It never looked neat. I never really liked it. I just could see my stitches. And then there was one video that Catherine did, K3N, Cloth Tales, where she created the element and then did little invisible stitches around the perimeter of it. to secure all the turned edges, and then it was applied to the piece, and it was like a light bulb came on. And I did a rabbit using that same technique, and the number of comments that said, oh my goodness, they too had struggled with needle turn. There's a little bee. Look, I got him. Isn't he tiny? Look at that. He just made that. Yeah, the number of people that had also struggled with it, technique-wise, and then it just takes a fresh set of eyes to go, have you tried it this way? It's great. Do I have another blue without nibbling into those big pieces? Let's just double check. See, that's not a bad one. It's probably a little bit washed out. That's a good one. Actually down there. So yeah, moral of the story, if you don't like doing something, start exploring a different way. I think we're all mature enough to go, you know what, that really, really drives me batty. I am not doing that again. What's the right way of the fabric? Oh, concentrate, girl. Now I've got a little flower I want to capture on that top edge. And I didn't trim it. A bit all over the place today, aren't I? Here we go. And there's my glue ready. Hope I've been in shot. I've been thinking about so much here that I haven't even glanced at the TV to see if my hands are even in shot. There we go. Lickety split, done. And I want to have that peeking out. So we might use you there. And we need one more little blue fabric. What have we got? Too big of a print, I think. Big Betsy prints, they're no good to me. Here we go. What have we got there? Like, you're not even seeing my selecting process. See this little guy? That there has potential. Gosh, I've made a mess now. Look at that big. Yeah, it's got a little bit of lilac in it. That ties in nicely with those flowers there. That little bit of soft lilac. And snip. Okay, last one, guys. So my next step will just be to stitch everything down, which I won't bore you with. I've shown you my composition. If anything changes, I'll catch you up in the next video. The other thing I do need to do is my base. Now with my bases in the past, I've just picked a fabric that I like and it goes on the whole base and I just running stitch or canfer stitch all in a row. So we'll consider that part of my homework as well. Here we go, little guy. Last one. Take you out and pop you in. So those three will be joined. I'm not going to spread them apart to make a feature of them because I just don't have the wriggle room. And these two will be joined. then all of this lace will be stitched down on top of everything. Invisible stitch everywhere to hold the background fabric in position. And I believe we now have panel number 3. Where are the other panels? We look like we've got a set happening. We do. That pink is popping through. There's the 3 pieces. So the last one will be a wash of these little guys. Just the whole side will be them. Once I've done that, I'll see if there's an embroidery that is strong enough to sit on top of it. But I suspect it'll be such a strong palette that it would take a fairly strong embroidery to work its way on front. What I think I might do is maybe do a colour wash instead, and that will be the feature in itself, so don't cover it with anything. Whether I start with blues and reds and oranges that are dark, ending up soft up the top, or do I go from blue to red and drift between the two? It will come down to how much fabric I've got and what colours I have within the fabric. So stay tuned. I will be back another day with how that went. And then it'll be time to construct the actual caddy. I'll need to choose a fabric for the lining. I'm looking at this fabric here. Very pretty. And then one for the base as well. But decision's another day. All right, guys, I'm going to toddle off. I've got myself a bit of a plan. I'm loving the look of that. I feel like it all fits. So have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye, guys.